All
Okay.
right. So it looks like we're live on YouTube, but we're also recording, so it's all good. We'll make sure that we put the video out there in all different places, regardless. But it looks like we're on YouTube Live, which is actually kind of fun. I don't know. Do you use YouTube, Mr. Rhymes, a lot?
Absolutely. Yeah, we
Awesome.
all of our shows go there. A lot of content on
I
YouTube.
think I'm following. I know I'm following you on at least one of your channels. So I want to introduce, without further ado, a friend of mine, Mr. Brandon Rhymes, who's over, where are you coming to us from? On the west coast of Florida?
Palm Harbor, Tampa Bay, West
Beautiful.
Coast.
Nice, beautiful. How's the weather over there today?
It's nice, beautiful,
Yeah, it's always
sunny and
beautiful.
75.
Exactly. This is why people live in Florida, this kind of weather, this time of the year, right?
Absolutely.
So I understand from many mutual friends that you and your wife and your team are some really successful top real estate agents in the west coast of Florida market. Is that right?
Well, thank you. Yes, I believe so. Mid-Florida Regional MLS is the board that governs us. Yep.
Nice. And you guys are with which company?
We are the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty.
Nice. Now, it was funny because we were going to talk earlier, and Brandon was out there, signing contracts and getting new listings and hustling. So we were kind of laughing because some people are out there, it's all doom and gloom and there's no business, but successful people like Brandon and his team, they're still jamming. You guys are still busy, right?
That's right. Still rocking and rolling, taking new listings. Took probably 5 or 6 new listings this week, a couple of $1 million listings, another one right on the lakefront. I live on Lake Tarpon, so right across the lake on the other side. I just took the earlier listing today, so waterfront, beautiful property, about a $500,000 listing.
Nice. Now let's talk about why I was so interested, and I appreciate you taking the time to share, some of what you're doing to be so successful and have been successful. How long you been in real estate now? A long time, right?
Over a decade.
Yeah,
Over a decade now. Real estate and mortgage for almost 20 years.
Yeah. So you have a lot of experience, but you do some really great things with marketing. You think outside the box. I mean, you're a mover and a shaker. You seems like you're everywhere, not just online, but also on radio, in print. I mean, if someone's not already connected with you, here in a few minutes we'll share some of the ways to get in touch with you and to follow you. But if they just Google your name, you're going to show up all over the place because you have quite a few things going on. Tell me about this Consumer Quarterback Show.
Yeah, so I started the Consumer Quarterback Show, originally named as the Real Estate Quarterback Show, and that was almost 7 years ago now. Can you believe it? August will be 7. The show was to grow my business, grow my celebrity, fortify existing relationships, forge new relationships, and create opportunities for my listing clients, opportunities for my business partners to appear on air with me. So it's a really cool model that I really, I like to say perfected, but I'm always getting better. So there's really no perfection. It's an endless pursuit of perfection. But the show has really significantly helped me grow my business, grow my sphere of influence. A lot of people, of course, in the Tampa Bay real estate community, they know me or know of me. And it's a unique way that I've reached out to local area leaders. Like just yesterday, I had Hillsborough County Sheriff Chad Chronister on the show. I had a county commissioner on the show. In the past, we've had all the local mayors, Buccaneer football players on the show, things of that nature, and some mutual friends of ours that we both know. I think you mentioned like Chris Voss, Grant Cardone, Jarek Robbins. Warwick Dunn was one of my favorite interviews all time. He's been on my show multiple times. So anyway, it's a lot of fun, and it's really a cool way to get exposure. So now it's the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we're at 4:00 drive time. So we're weekdays. So now we have a daily presence on radio in Tampa Bay, and then also a show on the weekend on 102.5 The Bone.
Nice. Now, where can someone go and watch some of those past shows that you, like the guest you were just mentioning?
Yeah, tons of content. All of our shows go to YouTube, so that's where we primarily upload them. And then we put them out on iTunes podcasts. So I've got the podcast there as well. Lots of content out through our Facebook pages as well. The Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Facebook page, or the Consumer Quarterback Show Facebook page. And yeah, so the content's out there. We do a lot of broadcast emails as well, where we're pushing out some of the premier shows. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you guys are doing it all. And, I have to think for your clients, for the people that you help to buy and sell their homes, that exposure isn't just a fun thing to do. I mean, that exposure helps them move their home, sell their home, right? I mean, that exposure is a serious business methodology.
Yeah, so that's the key. And whenever I call FSBOs and expireds, and I realize you coach a lot of other realtors, so this is one of the main ways that I've grown my business, is just not being afraid of the phones. I love to cold call in the mornings. That's kind of my mantra, right? It reminds me of Chet Holmes, Tony Robbins, some of that talk. But yeah, so the idea is when I call and I talk to a FSBO or an expired, and I come in with this completely different pitch of, hey, I'm going to feature your property live on air, daily radio and TV show, because we syndicate all the content to Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Sony TV, and 85 other outlets. So we're talking about worldwide exposure, interesting content, interesting exposure, because we are interviewing local and national celebrities, plus local area business owners like attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors. And the reason why I renamed it to the Consumer Quarterback Show is because the number one primary goal is to be a consumer advocate. So there's so much spam, there's so much scams and junk out there, people losing their identity, identity theft, credit improvement, real estate, mortgage, solar technologies, lots of ways that we can help people through our consumer advocate based radio and TV show.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, you've positioned yourself as that advocate and as an expert. And I was reading some of the reviews on your site and on other places, and that comes up again and again with your clients, is that you were a resource, that you were in their corner, that that you were on their side, you help them navigate the process every step of the way. It's a big deal, right? And I'm sure you get a ton of referral business because of that, because once somebody has that kind of experience, they can't go back with anyone else. They wouldn't want to, right?
Yeah, that's a big part of our goal, is to stay in touch with our database. Keller Williams is a great company to work for, the number one real estate company in the world in terms of number of agents, volume, and real estate sales units, a leader in everything. And one of the key things that we talk about, especially since Gary Keller launched Command, which is basically artificial intelligence combined with big data, that allows us to have a kind of an all-in-one place to go as a real estate agent, but also we extend that to our clients. And it's kind of like when you log into Netflix and, hey, you're halfway through this show, you didn't finish that show. Here's some you might like. So that's what artificial intelligence and technology has done with Keller Williams. But it's great to be with that company, because the idea in a lot of the classes and training and education centers around taking better care of your previous clients, which in the beginning of my career, I didn't do as well. I would just be after the next sale and neglect the previous clients who, you can get lots of referrals and business from them by treating them right, as you mentioned, Tony.
Yeah, that's great. So I have a quick question. While you're talking about all your channels and your YouTube channel and your podcasts, I know that there's a lot of people watching, maybe in the real estate industry, maybe in just any other industry. Maybe they're a financial advisor, they own a small business, and they've started their own YouTube channel or podcast station, and they're probably sitting there going, man, how does this Brandon Rhymes guy have millions of views on his videos and all these, hundreds of thousands of subscribers? How does he have this kind of exposure? How did he grow that audience? What kind of tips would you give to someone that maybe started a channel, I don't know, a year ago, and they got 2 people that follow, that are subscribed to their channel?
Yeah. So one of the main, the main things that I would say is and I'm a little bit different than a lot of the folks that are doing, just strictly podcasting or trying to grow an audience through organic, is because I'm actually broadcast radio. So it's a little bit different. Sometimes people, they don't quite get that the first time. They say, oh, you have a podcast. And I say, yes, and I'm also broadcast radio. So if you're in your car driving, you tune in AM 860 The Answer, 93.7 FM, 102.5 The Bone, you'll hear my show.
Right.
So for me, I had an advantage in that area. But then on that same point, they say, well, and how do you grow your audience? Well, you bring on cool guests. You do these things like we're doing now. You reach out, and talk to people in different industries, and you bring on the mayor of your city, and you talk to and you interview the restaurateurs, the business owners, and you get out there and you just meet more people. And it's pretty cool, when you do have a platform like a radio and TV show, like we've developed, it gives you an opportunity to call up. We're working on Governor DeSantis right now. I think we're going to try to get the governor of the state of Florida on the show. Why not? Right. Yeah. So we've reached out, to some of these people that are, pretty high profile folks like Grant Cardone, we mentioned, Jarek Robbins, and some of those types of folks to be on the show. And then a big part of it, one of the huge takeaways from this would be, once you have the video content, now it's up to you to repurpose and share that content and put some ad spend dollars behind it on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, TikTok, right on down the line. And that's really a key part of it.
Yeah, use it, right? If you've gone to the trouble to make a video or record something audio wise, yeah, I'm with you. Leverage that thing. You've already done the work, if you will. Right now, just maximize it, put it everywhere, chop it up. Maybe use the video or the audio rather from a video and put that on a station. I think consistency is really key too. I'm guessing, we didn't talk about it, but I'm guessing you would agree. I mean, just not giving up after you've done a month of something or ran one ad and think that that's going to do it. You've been at this a long time. I mean, you've got to, this consistency play a piece, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's the idea, is to have the consistency, have the content. And then a lot of times people, one of the main things, because I developed a business, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but, one of the things was, well, if I have a 1 hour radio show, what am I going to say? It's kind of scary when you're behind the mic and you're like, okay, my brain, my brain's over here, but I forgot what I was going to say.
Now what? Right? Yeah. Now what?
But what's pretty cool about that is when you have, for example, a highly sponsorable platform like a real estate brokerage, you've got mortgage, title, home warranty, real estates, solar companies, mortgage companies, credit repair experts, home inspect. I mean, the list goes pretty deep when you think about it. And so, and it's really, any industry almost has those types of core people that are going to be support staff or supporting types of, companies
like
or stakeholders.
Yeah.
Affiliates, absolutely. So when you do that, now you're interviewing them, and then you can, but here's the key: the more that you can attach it to something that's already popular and already trending. So if you can research hashtags, research things that are already happening in your area, especially, if you want to be known as the mayor of your town, and that's going to be, of course, when you're in sales, the more people that know you, the better. So the more that you can do that, and you can talk about things that concern people in the town or the community, or, that new Walmart that's coming into town that everybody's trying to block, or, whatever that example might be for your area, the better you're going to be.
Yeah, so true. I think people sometimes get it in their head that they have something that they want to talk about, or they want to push, or they want to sell, or whatever it is, and be darn it, they're going to talk about just that, like you said, rather than ride the wave a little bit of what is already out there and what's already popular. And it's so easy to find out what hashtags are trending, and just watch the news, right? The topics, like you said, that are top of everyone's mind and everyone's talking about on Twitter and other platforms. Yeah, just use that to your advantage. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think
like the Tiger King and Carol. That thing's everywhere. Actually, I asked one of our expert contributors on the show the other day. I said, I kind of went there and I was like, wow, because I had an attorney on and we were talking about suing for the patent infringement, trademark infringement, and how that can happen to you. And yeah, what a bizarre.
Isn't that in Tampa? Isn't that on the west coast of Florida? That guy.
Tampa.
Okay, Tampa. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, one of them is in Tampa. The other, the guy Joe Exotic is in Oklahoma, and the gal Carol that allegedly, her husband disappeared. Who knows what happened? that is for Big Cat Rescue in Tampa right here.
Interesting. It's always in Florida, isn't it? I don't know why it's all stuff
Yeah.
always happens in Florida.
Yeah.
So you are also an author. Do you have one of
Yes.
your books handy by chance? Or should I ask you? Yeah, tell me about this
That's
book.
right.
Ah, look at that. Becoming the MVP in your industry, surfing the radio waves. So not only have you very successfully, I love it. I love your board. You got your board shorts on. That's awesome. Hey, it's no
Yeah.
small feat for a lot of people out there. If you've tried to, I mean, hats off to you. That's a great accomplishment in and of itself. If that was the only thing that we were talking about today that Brandon Rhymes has accomplished, that would be huge in and of itself. So that's just one of many things. But what do you share in that book? Do you share like how you were successful leveraging your radio show?
Exactly. That's exactly what I did. I talked about ways that I utilize barter. For example, we haven't even talked about the barter scenarios and places I have with my show is, for example, in my garage now, I have a beautiful Keller Williams red, refurbished, it looks brand new, golf cart that I utilize to go around the neighborhoods and door knock and meet neighbors and, take it to events and things of that nature. But, I put some of the pictures in here too. This is where I met Tony Robbins.
Oh yeah, love it.
At Business Mastery. So that picture was taken in Namale, Fiji.
I was just going to say it was in Fiji, right?
That's right.
Oh,
yeah, Warwick Dunn. Remember the football player Warwick Dunn?
Sure.
He played for the Atlanta Falcons. He's actually a part owner in the Atlanta Falcons now too. A lot of people don't realize that. But I kind of outlined how I did it, how I grew the show, and here's my former USF football coach, Jim Levitt. He coached at USF.
I love it.
And
So by the way, oh yeah, there's Grant Cardone, Mr. 10X himself. So I didn't even, like I said, there's so many things. Literally, I have like a couple notes because there's so many things to talk about. Tell me about your football career. You had quite the football history as well.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I a lot of times, it's one of those dynamics where Dad was the coach, so you know how that plays out. Dad's, he was a tough SOB. He was harder on us kids, and then of course the sons. My mom had 3 boys, so I was the oldest, but. So we kind of got the brunt of, whatever was going around that day, but it taught us how to be, winners. It taught us that, no matter where you're going to play, who it was, that you can win because everybody's on equal footing. So then I played in Pop Warner Super Bowl #1. It was the very first Super Bowl for Pop Warner, which was pretty cool back in that was 87.
Wow.
And I was 10 years old, in that year. So, state championship game. We won state multiple times. And then my senior year, we went undefeated, played in the state championship game. So I was always the quarterback. So that's why my show has that name, the real estate quarterback.
Yeah.
And, being that leader, and I played football at USF. I played for the inaugural team for the South Florida Bulls. I was, when you're shorter quarterback like me, so I'm less than 5'9", let's just say, you are a, converted to a defensive back, and that's what they did. And then the other thing I say about my real estate career, which was kind of interesting, is that, especially when I think about veterans and first responders and folks like that, my dad was an MP in the military, my biological dad, not my stepdad that coached us in football. But my biological dad passed when I was pretty young, right at 9 years old. The Naval Academy, the only full ride offer I had for all Division I schools was the Naval Academy, because they really wanted me as an option quarterback. So I went up there, took the trip, and turned it down because it was just way too cold for this South Florida boy up in Annapolis, Maryland.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's some cold country up there for sure. Well,
yeah, it was crazy.
So speaking of sports, how does Ken Shamrock fit into your world? Because when I was Googling you and looking up all your different platforms and sites, I came across Ken Shamrock's name. And who is he for those of us who might not know his full background? I even knew the name, and I don't even follow UFC that closely, but
yeah,
Shamrock was.
Yeah, so he's a Hall of Famer in that sport. He was one of the first pioneers in that sport that really developed, what's become known as mixed martial arts. because back then it was either you were karate, you were jujitsu, you were a fighter, you were a wrestler. Like they really, he really kind of was a leader in that sport. And I kind of almost say for people when they don't recognize him, say kind of like he's kind of like the Hulk Hogan of that sport. He was very popular, especially, still popular. He's international known, well known.
Yeah.
But I had an opportunity to partner with him through online networking. And what I loved about it, and Ken also, not only UFC audience, he has the WWF audience. So that's pretty cool how he was able to get into the, I kind of joke sometimes, I say he went from the real fighting to the fake wrestling,
Yeah.
So, but it's cool because, so we partnered with him. We have this company called the Business Growth Celebrity Academy, the BGCA, bgca.co. And the idea is to help business owners, entrepreneurs, could be attorney, insurance, mortgage, real estate, medical, doctor, pretty much anybody that wants to grow their celebrity, grow their sphere of influence, get a lot of cool barters, as I was mentioning with my golf cart and many others. The opportunity to grow your business. So that's what we've done, is I've developed that with Ken. And we are kind of still in development stages, but we're looking to, get more exposure for that business.
Yeah, and I definitely, in a minute here, I'm going to ask the best way for people to reach out to you, because like you say, I know you're kind of even adding some more stuff to that course, to that program. But if this sounds interesting to you, I know it does to me, and I know a lot of other people, the way that you approach and have approached your business. And if that sounds interesting and you're like, man, I'd like to learn more, you've put this course together, right? Just to help everybody and walk them through it. So I encourage everyone, if you're a commodity, if you're just doing the same old song and dance that everyone else is, if you're just walking in someone else's, literally in their footsteps right behind them, you're going to just be one of many. You're going to get in those situations where you have to compete on price or lowering your commission and all that, because you're just vanilla. You're just like everybody else. So I love what you do. And I'm did that same thing in my background and my career. Is you got to set yourself apart, and you've done that tenfold. So I think it's really, really fantastic, really awesome. Now you also work with your wife, right? Your wife is a partner as well, Lindsay.
That's right. Yeah, Lindsay is. She actually operated her own. Going back like two and a half years ago now, she had her own sales company, and it just got to a point where she was on planes too often, traveling. But her team did 40 million plus in sales the last team that she was managing for products nationwide. And now she's, real proud of the way she's really adapted to real estate, just, picking up the lingo, picking up the terminology, the strategy. And that's another testament to Keller Williams as well. Of course, she had the benefit of hearing me on the phone all the time and listening to how I close deals. Yeah. And then working with Keller Williams, who, by far is the best training company and education, support, training. That helps a lot too. But now we're both trainers as well with Keller Williams. So I teach branding and negotiation and some of the millionaire real estate agent models through the Keller Williams and the Keller Williams offices. Yeah. And then also the GTAR, which is both the realtor boards, GTAR and Pro, the Pinellas Realtor Organization here in Tampa Bay. But yeah, so Lindsay, she's very in touch with like the energy healing as well. So she's also an energy healer, and she studied feng shui and got certified as a master in feng shui and interior design, and also as a realtor. So that comes into play. And, we've got a pretty powerful combination there. And we also have 15 other agents on our team. So that's our dynamic.
Yeah, it's great. Well, so either maybe a real estate agent is listening, and they thought, man, I would like Brandon to share. You've already shared a lot of ideas and tips, but so either they could call you, and if they're in the West Florida team, they could just join your team, right? I'm sure you're always open to awesome, motivated people to join your team. But would you mind sharing, what's something, because you're a leader in a team and have been for a long time, is there something that you see or you think that more agents, especially newer agents, maybe under a year in the business, but any agent that maybe isn't, achieving at the level that they'd like to, what's something or, something you could share that would maybe help somebody in that situation?
Yeah, a lot of times they come to me, and in the past, people I've dealt with, I've tried to help people grow, and they come to me and say, "Oh, I want to make money. Yes, I'm committed." But when you really find out, the number one question is, are you committed to success no matter what? Are you willing to wake up extra early, make those extra calls, make the extra calls? And sometimes, and that's what's cool about Keller Williams too, is that, it's not, you don't have to be on the phones. If you don't want to make a phone call, you don't have to, other than, transactional stuff. So what you want to do is find out what you're good at, what they have different terms for it. Tony Robbins calls it a disc profile. Keller Williams calls it, I think, a KPA. Find out what you like to do, what your personality has a strong affinity to be successful at. And then it comes down to modeling. Like Tony Robbins, they all talk about is modeling. So if you model an expert, and if you join our team, you can model me. You'll ride with me on listing appointments. You'll work with Lindsay on buyer consultations. We'll teach you the business. But what I find is that people, a lot of times they say they will, and they want to, but when it really comes down to digging in and getting it done, they don't do it. The majority of people just don't do it. It's the 80-20 rule, right? Yeah. 20% will, 80% won't. And it just comes down, it's a big math equation. If you're in sales, it's a big math equation. You ever see, what was that movie, Good Will Hunting, where he has all these things on the chalkboard, right? It's similar to that. I mean, but it's a lot simpler. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it's simple.
Simple, right? Yeah.
It's simple.
Yeah. And like you said, you got to put in the work. How many people right now are just saying, oh, you know what, I'll get back to work when this whole health thing, passes over. And that's why I started off by saying, guys, Brandon, Lindsay, their entire team, they're busy. They're doing things. They're out there at appointments, right? And while everybody else is sitting at home watching Netflix, which, by the way, I like a good Netflix show once in a while too. Especially now, I don't think I've ever catching up on some shows that I've heard about for years. But seriously, we're still waking up early. We're still doing our business and fine tuning our skills. And yeah, I mean, you can't. For those people that really want it, they'll find a way.
Yeah. And that's when I'm going back to that. I'm going to go back to that math equation example. The number of prospects you talk to, and the millionaire model. So if you make 100 contacts per day, could be a mix of previous clients, previous sellers, somebody you met at the grocery store, the guy who repaired your car, your hairstylist. By the way, hairstylists are the best referral partners. There's a realtor with KW that he does a really good job of setting the tone throughout the transaction. And, every step of the way, inspections, appraisals, showings, hey, we're going to do such a great job to you, and then he repeats his mission statement of doing a great job for the client. You're going to want to send us referrals and give us 2 referrals and 2 recommendations. So at the end of the transaction, the client's heard that so many times.
A little NLPA going on too. Yep.
Yeah, he's setting that intention in their mind and letting them know that he's going to ask them for referrals and 2 online recommendations. But when I said hairstylist, it popped in my head. There's a hairstylist that's in his network, and they do parties and ice cream socials and things like that. This hairstylist, I think the last time I checked, referred him 36 clients over the last 3 or 4 years.
Wow. Yeah.
So think about that. One relationship can feed you 36 deals at just say $5,000 commission, probably 10, 8, 7, and there. So think about the money he made off of that one relationship. Yep. And then the referrals from that, because that's the cool thing about real estate is it grows and it gets viral and it expands.
And people, it's all about bringing value. I know you guys agree with that as well. And can you bring value to other people? Right now, there are business owners that would love the opportunity to do like we're doing, like get on a little video together, or would love the opportunity for you to make some introductions to people that if you can offer something, if you can bring something of value to someone, especially right now, not that you're doing it for that, but right now you might be able to get the attention of somebody that otherwise you wouldn't have, because they were too busy, or they yes. Had other things on their plate. So right now, great time. There's just a lot that people can do if they just look at things through a different lens, look at it from a different angle, right? Not always me, and what I'm selling and doing commercials, but to bring it back to your radio show, highlight other people. So it's interesting, but you're also giving something to them and giving them the platform and giving them an opportunity to talk. So it just changes the whole dynamic. And like I said, I think it's fantastic. How do people get in touch with you? Where's the best place to find you? I mean, I dare say they should just literally Google Brandon
Yeah, you
Ryan.
can find me there. If they want to call or text me anytime, I'll just give them my straight, I call it my consumer advocate hotline. The same thing I give out on radio is 813-750-0550. And you can call or text that line. It's an off-air number. You're not going to be put on the radio. Sometimes people call me and they're like, "Hey, am I on the radio?" No, we wouldn't do that to you. 813-750-0550. You can reach out there. For real estate, if you're interested in real estate, it's Platinum MVP, like most valuable player, MVP team at .kw.com.
Okay.
Platinum MVP team.kw.com. Consumer Quarterback Show is consumerqb.com. And yeah, we'd love to help, anyone out, any questions, comments, concerns. I love mixing it up, talking to people. I love it when the callers reach out with questions about my value, or, I'm getting a divorce. What do you think about this type of a scenario? We get into all types of those questions.
Yeah. Well, and I encourage people too, we'll share this video. So if anybody wants to put something in the comments, like if you said a question, I love questions as well, because chances are if you have a question, a lot of other people have the same question. So you're not only helping to get the answer for yourself, but maybe
right.
for someone else. Right. So yeah, it's all good.
Exactly.
Well, I am looking forward to continuing our conversations, and I look forward to working with you and Lindsay on getting the word out and keeping the word out there about your Business Growth Celebrity Academy, because that's really a cool course that you've built there. So you guys will be hearing more about that. My followers will be hearing more about that in the near future. So, all right, my friend. Well, I will let you get back at it. Like I said, I know you got some paperwork to do, and you're a busy guy. So I'll let you.
Can I say one last thing?
Of course.
First of all, thank you for hosting this. Thanks for putting this together. And one of the things I do on my show, which I would like to end with, is I always ask the audience to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Something as simple as, packing up some extra food, carry it with you, hand it to that person that you see in need on the side of the road. Volunteer some time, volunteer some food donations are big right now, or maybe even blood, because I know blood banks are low right now. So go out and do your random act of kindness, guys.
Here. I love it. Thank you for saying that. All right. Well, listen, have a great evening, a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right,
Take care.
Bye.